Talk to me about the state of case acceptance today.
I think we've had to do things differently. Things that worked 5 years ago is not the same.
Everybody has a Google dental degree.
I have seen patients in the chair reach for their phone when the doctor says something and start Googling it. It's like you have the doctor right there looking at your x-rays and your picture, but you go ahead and Google that and see what you think.
They will accept treatment if you educate them enough.
We make dental billing and insurance easier to understand. Subscribe to stay updated and help us grow the channel.
And we are back with another episode of Nobody Told Me That. And I have a repeat guest. I love repeat guests because I always know it's going to go well. I have Angela Sullivan with me, who's a longtime friend, colleague, trusted resource. Angela, what's happening?
Ooh, let's see. So much. It's summertime. I love it. We're getting ready to go on a big trip, do some CE on the beach. Who doesn't love that?
I know. And I showed her before, but look at my flamingo nails already.
Nails.
No, I don't do it very often, but you know what? You got to have a little bit of fun. Okay. So for those of you just listening, I just put up like the most pink nails you've ever seen me have in my life. So that's what you missed listening to the audio and not watching the YouTube. And in case you didn't know, you can watch it on YouTube so you can see all the goofy faces that we make and all of it. So we were going to talk about two different things. One, you and I have something exciting that we're brewing up for October, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. And it's something that if you're an office manager, assistant, anybody in the office that's thinking of like, what do I do next? This is going to be something you're going to want to listen to. Okay. Yeah. But the one thing that I wanted to talk to you about, because you're so good at this and you've done training for teams, for friends of ours, you've gone in and done individual trainings, but you're really good at case acceptance. And one of the real reason you're really good at it is just like when you talk, it's so calming, but you're so direct and people really like that. But not everybody has that. So I want to just preface that by saying that you have years of experience teaching this, but you also have years of experience being in the office too. So I think you and I started out years and years ago. You were starting before I did, I think. And we met your company, Adaptive Dental Solutions. You started it in what, 2005, 2006? What did you say?
I think it was like 2010.
2010. Okay. Yeah. So you've been quite a bit. It's
a little while.
Good chunk of time, right? So you've been working with teams for a long time. And ever since I've known you, you have always been good with translating, like case acceptance, translating leadership. And I'm going to put a link in the show notes, but you wrote a book called Coming Home to a Better Dental Practice. And I thought that, first of all, that's a great name for a book because you said, on the last time you came on, you're like, it's like we live there. It's our home.
Like we do.
So it totally made sense. And some of what you're going to talk about today is also in there. But talk to me about case acceptance, the state of case acceptance today. And have you picked up any new tricks over your time teaching teams?
That's a great question. And the answer is yes, because I think we've had to do things differently. Things that worked 5 years ago is not the same. I think our teams are different. Our patients are different. I think patients are, dare I say, well, they've done the Google search on so many things, which makes them an expert, they think, right?
Absolutely. And everybody has a Google dental degree, right?
Absolutely. Like, it's so easy to get, right? I mean, and what's so funny is I have seen patients in the chair reach for their phone when the doctor says something and start Googling it. It's like you have the doctor right there looking at your x-rays and your picture, but you go ahead and Google that and see what you think.
I'm just thinking, like, say you and I were in an office, a physician's office, and you just got a diagnosis of something cancer.
Right.
And would you be like, hold on, let me look this up.
Yeah.
I don't know about that, doctor. Like, what the heck? Yeah. Who does that?
Who does that? But they think that, I don't know, I think people are hard to trust. And so if the doctor has not done a good job of building trust and they just came in there randomly, patient referrals are usually you've already got a level of trust with them. So that helps. And then I think it's just so easy. We have our phone for everything.
Mm-hmm.
And it's
Mm-hmm.
easy just to go, well, let me see what they say about it. Well, who are they?
Right.
I mean,
I
you're
know.
sitting here with me, the expert, but yeah, so that's different. And I think our teams are different. And in a time when a lot of practices are short staffed, I've
Yeah.
never had to do case presentation before. But now we don't have someone dedicated to doing that all the time. So guess what?
Mhm.
Assistants or admin team, you might have to do something that you've not done before because there's
Yeah.
only 4 of us or whatever it is.
Right.
So learning how to get comfortable having those conversations has
Well,
been
and all it takes is a week or two of not presenting treatment to realize like what an impact somebody that does present treatment has. I mean, so say you've got somebody who's out on, medical leave and you can't help it, you can't find anybody, like it becomes really obvious who, maybe that little extra nudge or that little extra explanation would have made a huge difference, but we don't realize it until that person's gone. And heaven forbid that a doctor who got really comfortable with the team doing the case
oh yeah,
presentation part has to do it. Oh boy, that's a whole nother like reacquaintance
no kidding.
with patient conversation.
No kidding. I have a doctor going through that right now, and he's like, "What?" I'm like, "Stop, you're up. It's you again. You're the show, and you got to go in there and put a bow on it, ma'am. Your
Yeah.
team is she's moving, getting married and moving. I mean, what are you going to do? So until we find somebody, it's you.
Let's talk about that. Do you suggest that he just or she just spend some time going through the whole like history with the patient, the case, or do you suggest like they pick some of the easier patients to sort like cherry pick the patients to get
Yeah,
started with? I'm thinking, my goodness, my doctor, he's good at it, but he doesn't want to do it. Like he would
no,
be very resistant if we said you got to cherry pick.
yeah, and it's interesting because like I'll take the easy one and you think it's a slam dunk. And sometimes those are just as hard as a $50,000 case.
Yeah.
To
Yeah.
present $1,000 for this one crown can oftentimes be harder than that $50,000 case. So one of the things I tell my teams all the time is it's not about the dollar amount. What's the impact you're going to have on that patient? What are they looking for? What problem are you going to solve for them?
Hmm.
That's just the price tag, just how much it's going to cost to help them get there. If they can get buy-in on this other stuff first, hey, we've got options to help you pay for that. And teams just have to practice it. They've got to practice it and not be afraid of it.
So when you're training, is it better to just train them on how to get the clinical piece across? Or do you train them to do it all in like one cycle? And I don't know if I'm being clear here, but like, because this is what I've seen in different offices. A doctor will do the case presentation, nothing about the money.
Right.
Okay. And then they're out. And then the money, the closer comes in,
Yeah.
and hopefully they're not totally like a used car salesman, but you know what I mean. But nowadays, are you seeing more like we've got to be good at everything? Or what is the best tactic? The split up or everybody doing it all? What do you
Yes,
think?
and yes, and because I
Okay.
think a lot of it depends on the talent that you have in your building with you. And some people can learn it and do great at it, and other people may want to do it, but it's they're not there yet. And one of the big things, and I'm a big believer in the doctor when they're doing their treatment presentation, they're also buying you and trusting you. You're the expert. It's okay to say it's going to be around. Just shoot a little bit high so that when they
Mhm.
actually talk about the finances, it comes in a little lower than that. Nothing worse for you to say, "Oh, it's only going to be 5,000." We put in the treatment plan to figure out the finances and it's 7,500. Well, now I'm the bad guy.
Right. Well, the
So
doctor
shoot
said
high. I know doctor
that,
said 5.
and that's the number they're going to have in their head. Like
Well,
they're
that's
not going
the
to
only one
understand.
they remember. Yeah.
Right. Right.
So just teaching doctors how to ballpark that for what they're doing on those big cases, especially not for a crown necessarily, but hey, if we're going to do some implant retained dentures, you're probably looking at about $60,000. That way the patient knows it, the doctor knows it. Now we can see if we're in the same ball field.
Okay.
Then I can
Okay.
go down for that. But then, yes, the assistant, here's the thing, an assistant can do these treatment plans and financials, an admin person can do it. I've had hygienists that do it. It just all depends on where the strength of that person's communication skills are and what they're working on and learning. Now, hygienists, don't freak out. You typically don't have time to do it anyways,
Right.
but
Right.
you could. if you didn't have a patient. But you can hand that off to your next team member with confidence as well. And that's the other piece of that. So don't think you're going to have to do it, hygienist. But assistants, I have several really good that stays with the assistant, and they wrap the whole thing up, the financial
Yeah.
arrangements, make that next appointment. I mean, they're good. They're good at
Yeah. And they hear the whole thing.
it. I know the
So,
whole
and
thing.
years and years of listening to the rationale of why we do the treatment has made them so strong. I mean, I've said this a million times. Insurance coordinators, some of the best ones are assistants because they
Yes.
know the whole clinical cycle. But let's walk through that initial conversation that the doctor has. So they did well, first of all, I guess it starts with the comprehensive evaluation too. Are there things that he or she is doing during that helps with the next step in the process? I mean, what does a good comprehensive evaluation look like?
Yeah. I will go back even further to the
Okay.
first time they call the office.
Okay.
Is where patients begin to say yes. We're in yes mode if they have a good experience on the phone.
Right.
Our business team is confident. They help them. They address the initial questions about time and how much money and what about my insurance kind of stuff. That's where that yes starts. And then when they come in the office, we meet that with that same high level of service and build relationship first and talk about the treatment that that patient needs with confidence. Those are all where it starts. So then that is that comprehensive evaluation where we've got to do all the things, guys. That's full medical history,
Yeah.
blood pressure, x-rays, photos, wellness scans. I mean, you do all your stuff and then tell the patient what you found, the good and the areas of concern. And when we're doing that, though, you've got to start with relationship. What's important to that patient? So
And that,
actually, turn around, mask down or off, gloves off. Tell me, Teresa, what's the most important thing for you? What are you looking for? I don't want to drive just my agenda to help them get healthy, but if I know how they're motivated, whatever they need, we've got a solution for. But if I don't ever ask them what's important to them, I could miss the mark on that.
I do think sometimes doctors, they do ask it, but I don't think they realize how important it is. And let me explain. Sometimes the patient intake form, where
Yes.
you say, what is it that you would like to change about your smile, or what's your favorite thing about your smile? Some of those questions, the doctor will just read it,
Yep.
and it's like background information for him or her, but it doesn't come up. And so, oh, this is an interesting answer to this question. Like, and it's just like when you go to any medical office, Angela, we fill out all that paperwork and I don't think anyone reads
I
it.
don't know if anybody read it.
Yeah. So, like, just letting me know you read it is like, I'm already like super happy. So, but
Yeah, absolutely. And you can turn around and all you have to say is, tell me more about this. You don't even
yeah.
have, it doesn't have to be a hard question. Just tell me more about this. This is how you answer that. Tell me more about that. They're going to go, oh, they're actually looking at that.
Mm-hmm.
How,
Yeah.
so that's really good. And then, asking, what do you want? What are you hoping for? Do you have any concerns? And most people, unless they have a lot of problems, are unaware of the potential problems that they do have. And that's
Of
where we
course.
come into play. That's why we're the experts. That's why
Yeah.
they're there to educate.
And I do think when you ask questions like, what are you looking for? What do you expect? Like sometimes the people that answer that in a certain way, you already know how to handle them because if
Oh,
somebody's like, I want to smile like Miley Cyrus and all that, and you're like, don't,
yeah.
we got a long way to
Yeah,
go.
long
But
way to go, baby. But that does help you pre-phrase
yeah.
that patient.
Hmm.
It's information. If you take it, you can use it to help with getting case acceptance for what they do need. And it's going to give them a better smile in the end. Is it going to be Miley Cyrus? Well, I don't know. But here's what we can do.
It'd be nice, right? Like I think her smile's gorgeous, but I'm
Yes,
never going
just
to
take
walk into an
take
office
the
and be
lead.
like, hey, turn me
Just-
into Miley. My
yeah,
doctor would laugh. He would be like,
yeah.
get out of here. So let's talk then about, I'm going to just put you on the spot. Say
Okay.
you have a patient, the doctor did all of that, and either the doctor's a closer or the closer comes in. So you've got this, let's just do the 7,500. Let's just stick with that. 7,500 is like a lot more than people budget for dental. I think that's just fair to say. People don't think
Absolutely.
it even costs 1,000 and then they're like, what? So what do you say to someone who's like, I need to get this done, I'm in pain, but you're telling me it's going to put me into the bankruptcy here? Like, how do you handle that?
That's a fun question. So step one is make sure that you are seated eye to eye with the patient when you're talking about this intimate stuff, which money and then your mouth is. And
Mhm.
just, I'm able to say, I understand where you're coming from. So now they're not alone. I understand how you feel about that. We've had other patients that have felt that same way. I had a lady, if you've got an example, use it. I had a lady a couple months ago that needed a lot of work. And when we figured out the finances for her, oh my gosh, she's so happy now and able to eat and chew what she wants. Our team is really good at helping you figure this out. We have options to help you. Can we explore those with you? So then I ask permission, because now we're getting somewhat personal about how much money do you make? How much do
Mhm.
you do a month? And that can be scary. And I think that feel, felt, found helps patients connect. It helps strengthen the relationship, builds trust, and they know that this is not the only person it's ever happened to. They
So
often assume that they are probably the only person that comes to this practice that has
yeah,
teeth this bad and has no money. And
yeah.
we know that's not true.
So for somebody new, brand new, what is feel, felt, found? What are you talking
Feel,
about?
felt, found. So I'm going to relay to the patient, I understand how you feel. We've had other patients that felt that same way. And here's what we found. When I was able to get outside financing for them, they were able to say yes, and we were able to move forward with treatment, and they were able to fit it into their budget. Can I go ahead and help you explore that option with you?
So
So
it's
you're,
feel, felt, found, explore. I like that. You got to add that extra thing
I
on
got to
there
add
because you
my
did.
E in there, don't I? Yeah.
Well, because I mean, it was you can tell you've done this a long time, and this is why it's so important. When you've done something a long time, you just kind of assume other people, it's innate, but I forget, you forget, like the first couple of times we tried to present treatment, it was a disaster,
Horrible.
right?
Yeah.
So, but you've done it so often, like your explore comes right, like it was a natural progression. So, and that's, I think other people reach, they get their own way of doing
Yes,
it.
they will get their own way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was awful the first couple times I tried to present. Do you remember like
Heck
your
yeah. I
people?
remember sweating
Oh,
profusely, even when we had to role play it because we were preparing for that role. You know what I mean? I mean, that was horrible. And it's like, why am I putting myself through this?
yeah.
And I know a lot of teams, we hate that practicing or role playing. You can put any kind of word you want to on it. We all know what it is. It's role
Yeah.
playing, and it's not fun.
Mhm.
But it really does that repeated doing it, repeated doing it. And when you've got your team there cheering you on and not being a difficult patient, they want you to succeed. And if
Yeah.
you can just be uncomfortable long enough to get to the other side and have the breakthrough,
Right.
and then you can go, okay, I can do this. And then when you go to patients, they don't know what you were supposed to say, anyways.
Yeah. It's
Your
true.
job is just to get them to the end and be their advocate. I want to help you. Here's what we can do. So, yes, the first few were horrible. And the other thing is, too, we get stuck on, well, I have a lot of, we start with, with the teams and go, how much do you feel comfortable presenting? Like 500, 5,000, $2. I mean, and
Yeah.
it was like $50 for their deductible. I could tell them that. And I'm like, okay, we're going to work on that because your treatment plans are going to be more than that.
A
So
lot
let's get
more.
ready.
A lot more.
And so
Yeah.
just building their confidence on that. Like, and then it's funny to watch them and it's like, well, now I could talk about any amount. But I have
Yeah.
a solution for it. It's not about that dollar. It's about here's the solutions for you. And I can
Well,
help you get there.
and we do have people who, are not six-figure earners right away, right? We had a lot of single mothers in
Yep.
our practices, right? And I'm sure that that's across the country. So when you're asking somebody for $5,000, that's $5,000 you wish you had in your pocket. I mean, I was the same way. I was like,
Yeah.
this is going to be a
As a
nice
young kid,
crown.
I'm thinking I would never spend $5,000 on my teeth, but
Yeah.
you can't act like that when
No.
you're going to present that. So that means a lot of practices of smiling through it.
Hmm.
And it's so funny when you start because you hear patients, they'll have their little piece of paper and go, it's so, yeah, everything the doctor said, and it's going to be your estimated portion is about $5,000. What?
Right.
Like they don't want to say it.
You're right.
What'd you say? It's like
Right.
they're all excited and then they, it's like,
Right.
what'd you say?
No, I remember that. I definitely did that a couple
Of
times.
course,
Like,
you act all brave and bold, and then you like whisper the price, like it makes it any better.
right.
And that's what we got to work on. And the same thing for doctors when you talk about that comprehensive diagnosis is being super clear and confident. there's none of this. I might could do a filling or a crown on that, or if you want to. Like, no, you're the expert. That's why she's Googling.
Oh my
No, you
gosh.
need the treatment.
I wish I could wave a magic wand and take that away because I worked with a doctor once and he would say, well, we could do this or we could do this. You just let us know. And I'm like, no,
No.
no, you let them know because if you let them decide, they're never doing anything.
Not doing anything.
But he was such a nice guy that that's how, I mean, you want to go to this restaurant or that restaurant, it's your decision. Like that was a normal thing for him. So
Yeah.
of course with the patient, he's like, well, I don't want to tell them what to do. I'm like, you no, they come to
That's your
you.
job.
Yeah.
And I've used a different word the last probably 5 years or so in talking about treatment, not recommendations. This is what's been prescribed for you.
Oh, I like
Your
that.
problem was. And so doctor has prescribed us to do a buildup and a crown on that, or you need fillings to remove that decay. That's what's been prescribed for you. And it's leveled up the seriousness of it, the urgency of it, the
Yeah.
reality, like all the things, like recommendations, or you, I mean, just seems like you, like a restaurant. You could go there, you could,
Yeah.
like, it's not a big deal. No, you're a doctor. Prescribe the treatment,
I like
prescribe the
that.
fluoride, prescribe the extraction if you have to. But you know, you're
Hmm.
giving them that urgency and that definitive piece of this is what you need to do to get healthy. Like, why would we come there and not want to get healthy?
Well, and I do know that there are different ways of saying it. So, like you're saying, prescribing treatment plan is something we've all said it, like
Yep.
it's just kind of there. I started listening to like a lot of our my medical doctors going, because you know, you get older, you start hearing things like, we're going to need to do this. Whereas, but you know, it used to be, hey, we'll see you in a year. And now it's like, oh, so we're going to do that. So our plan of attack or
Yes.
our plan for your care, like
Yeah.
they will say different things other than treatment plan.
Treatment plan.
So I started, you know, every now and then I'll, you know, tell somebody, hey, why don't you sprinkle that in? But maybe that's something that our listeners could do is next time they go to the pediatrician's office with their kid or go to their
Listen,
doctor's office, like what is plan of attack actually was
I like it.
perfect to me. Yeah, because it showed that, hey, we've got to get stuff done.
Well, here's the thing. When we get good at it, you'll find the right little phrase for that person.
Hmm.
Prescribe might work for one person, where plan of attack is perfect for somebody else, as
Yeah.
well as here's the game plan. I want you to do
Yeah.
this, and this first. So you'll find maybe 5, 7 different phrases that you can use other than he recommended a crown. Oh, thanks, but no thanks. I
Yeah.
mean, it's not like it's not optional.
Yeah.
Here, we're going to need to do this in the next whatever. So yeah, you'll find some phrases. Listen to what the medical professionals are saying.
Yeah. And that's
That.
probably a good exercise for next team meeting. Like, what are some alternatives to treatment plan? And that's something that when I was consulting, and you're still doing this full time and everything, but sometimes our employees, the employees of these practices, come up with things, and I'm like, that is so brilliant.
I
Like,
know, right?
why did I not think of that in all my years? I was talking to patients. And so let them be brilliant. Ask them to come up with these terms. They don't have to use your terms, you
Mm-mm.
know?
Make it you. Make it you.
Yeah.
I love doing brainstorming exercises with teams to get them thinking and giving them the space to try something out. And even if it fails, you tried it and no one's in trouble and we can try
Hmm.
something else again. Because they do come up with some brilliant, brilliant things. And sometimes when we're in there every day, even the best office managers, the best doctors, we get in our habit and go, oh, I have not thought about doing that in years.
Yep.
That
Yep.
that might be the thing we need to do right now because it's changing. The dynamics are changing, our patients are changing, our workforce is changed.
Hmm.
Catch up with it.
Well, and we've got now, like, I think credit card debt, I mean, at the time of this recording is like super high right now. Economy is doing better, but credit card debt, I think all that spending, it's caught up to people.
Mm-hmm.
And that happens. I mean, you're young, you're freaking out thinking everybody can't afford anything. Don't worry, it'll swing back around. It always does. But when you are talking to a patient, let me give you another scenario because this is what I think a lot of offices run into. You've told a patient 4 times that they need this crown. Why is that fifth time going to be the winner? Like, what is it that we can do that makes it different? Because they've heard the same pitch. I mean, isn't it like wah, 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 wah at this point? Like, what are we doing?
Great question. And look, what are we doing? Are we using scans, photos, updating x-rays, using AI with our x-rays that we can talk to a patient? The other piece of that, and sometimes it is the fifth time, because look, it's like commercials. Why do we see the same 5 commercials for like 6 months and then they get some
Yeah.
fresh ones right before we go do something? Patients are, number one, looking for consistency. They're actually hoping you forget about it. Because if it's not hurting and you don't bring it up, then I'm not bringing it up. So good. And you do that a couple hygiene visits, it's off the radar for sure.
Hmm.
And we don't bring it up. Our job is to continue to re-educate. I am concerned about this. You have been on borrowed time. We've talked about
Ooh.
this the last 4 visits.
Ooh.
I'm glad you don't have any pain right now. I'm glad it's not broken, but I don't want you to call me on a Friday night in pain and I'm not here. Let's do it.
Okay.
The other thing is, let's do this while it's more predictable and actually less expensive. It's only going to get more expensive and less predictable if you continue to wait.
So you're talking about like some tough love.
Yeah.
So you start out, do you
This
start
time,
out? Well, I mean, so let's go back to say it's
second
the
time.
second time. Are
Yeah,
we tough
the
loving
second
at
time.
that point?
I'm still doing tough love because I'm concerned about this patient. If this is the best treatment and I can take a photo and it looks worse, certainly it's not going to look any better. I've never seen an amalgam magically heal from one visit to the next, or
Okay.
broken tooth, or decay gets smaller. I've never seen any of things happen. So I take a new picture and go, this is your tooth. This is why I'm concerned. And don't be afraid to turn around and have the conversation with them. So tell me what's going on. What are you worried about? And then just wait.
Okay, so that's scary
Hmm.
because if you've never like let a person think before, like ask them a question. It's a thick question. That's not an easy question. What's going on here? What are you waiting for? Like,
Yeah.
and then you got to shut up because they got to think. Because first they're thinking, "Oh, uh-oh, she called me out." And now
Yes.
I've got to come up with a reason. And she's being quiet. She's not filling the space. I better talk. Like that's everything that's going through their head.
Everything is, and we think that the more we talk or the more we educate, that it's going to get better. And then we
Mhm.
just continue to like verbally vomit about the
Right.
risk and this and that. And they're just sitting there going, what the heck is she talking about now? We've lost them. And we do this with money too. When we ask
Yeah.
people for their money, we're like, oh, here's your choices. What do you think? Which one do you want to do? That's
It's
it.
nervous babble. It's nervous
Yes,
babble. You're just
just be
talking like, okay,
quiet.
so we could finance it for 6 months and then, well, we could do 12 months too. And then,
Yeah.
we could also wait. It's just this nervous like babble that you've
Yeah.
got going on. So avoid the babble for
Yeah.
sure.
Get okay with that silent pause for 15 seconds, which is going to seem like an eternity when you're sitting there staring at each other. They will speak. They will
Hmm.
they will answer you or ask a question. And the same thing with the money thing. I don't think it's fair to prejudge anybody. I don't know how much money you have. I don't know how
Yeah.
much you have set aside. I don't know how much is in your budget per month. What I do know is how much it costs. And here are 3 options that we have. And I love using a sheet that I'm able to put in there the full amount, what we estimate from insurance, and then it populates if you pay in full, if you
Hmm.
do half and half, if you do 3 months, maybe you have care credit and you do extended, and it gives them the options just to say, hey, your estimated portion is going to be around 7,500. Here's some options that we have. Let me know if you have any questions, and then be quiet and let them look at it, because they're
Right.
going to be doing math in their head. I can't, no, I can't do that. I can't do, ooh, I could do 175 a month.
Yeah.
But you
Yeah.
got to be quiet and give them time to answer and process it.
And I think too, I mean, it sounds so old school, but a clipboard with paper,
Yeah.
put the treatment plan on there. This is a gripe I have with all of the software companies. And I don't know if you feel the same. Maybe you even have something custom. I don't know. I can't stand all of the treatment plan forms of all of the software companies. They're just a big printout of blah.
Yeah.
I
I
mean,
don't use them.
okay, and that's where I was too. I would be like, oh, let me just go ahead and
Let me clarify that.
yeah,
Yeah.
and I would just create like we did phases and we would type it first. I hand wrote them, which was a total
Yes.
disaster.
That
And
was,
then we created like a Word document way back in the day when the little clip art thing was up. And
yes.
it was like phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. And it was so simple. And then the softwares were like, oh no, we've got this for you. We've got this. And here's clauses you need to print at the bottom. And here's things you need to have signatures. And so I was like, okay, I guess we better use it because we got to get the signatures. But
The
they
treatment
suck.
plan feels like a menu. And when you hand it to a patient, they don't know what they're looking at. 15 MO 102,
Yeah.
14 MOD 150. I mean, I'll take the mod and the dough, not the PFM. That's too much. You know what I mean? It's like, that's not. So yes, you have to have treatment plans in your software, 100%, and schedule from them and use them for follow-up and checking on patients. That's about the treatment. Now, how am I going to help them say yes? Here's what I need to know. Angela, the doctor wanted to start on the upper left. That's a couple fillings and a crown.
Mm-hmm.
I've got this for you. This shows you what we estimate your portion to be, and here's our options for you. You let me know which one works best for you. And now they're signing the financial arrangement, or we're talking
Mm-hmm.
about that. Then I can bring out the treatment plan and get consent to do the upper left or whatever it is we're doing. I see girls go, okay, so this is the upper left, this is the back tooth, and we're going to do an MO filling. This is our fee, 112. Insurance is going to pay 74. So you're patient, and they're reading every line to them, and I'm like, why?
Yeah, I just don't know of any software, and it's been probably a year since I've looked. I don't know of any software that breaks it down in a way that I really like it. And I mean, I get we have to give them the CDT codes because they have the right to go look it up, but there's got to be phase one. Here's a common language description, like you just said. This is the upper left. This is what he thinks or she
Right,
thinks is most important, and then here are the accompanying codes. And then at the bottom, estimated price, estimated coverage,
right.
that
I
that
haven't
would
seen
be
it in
better.
any software. So we just made an Excel sheet that they're able to pull up on any computer, which makes
Hmm.
it super easy for anybody in the back. You look at the treatment plan that we have in the computer that gives us our total here. So for that, or for the whole thing, I'm looking at that number. I put that in the Excel sheet. Magic happens, and here's your options to pay for it. I don't have to do any math,
Yeah.
which is nice.
Yeah.
There's the options for you. How can I
Well,
help you?
hopefully there's a software developer that's going to be like, what? This hasn't happened?
I know,
No, it
right?
hasn't
It's not
happened.
happened.
Fix it,
Get on that.
please.
Yeah, that
You
would be
know?
nice to do it just once.
So you mentioned AI, but we've got so much AI coming onto the market. Like we've got AI note taking where like now
Mhm.
doctors can just, and it'll do their SOAP notes and clinical notes and on. It's still very young in practice, but it's here, it's evolving. Why isn't there like a treatment plan coordinator notes of like, here it is, please put phase one, blah, blah, blah. Like, why can't
Yes,
I just speak it and do it?
and
So
make it happen. I know, right?
yeah. I mean, Google Gemini
It'll
and
it'll
Chat
be here.
GPT, maybe. I don't know. But then I'm talking about somebody's DO and MO, and I'm not
I
supposed to
know,
do
like, what is
that.
that? I don't like that either. So yeah,
So we got to figure something out. But not me because I'm too lazy, like
yeah, not me. I'm not gonna do that
I'm not
either.
doing it. So
But what
somebody
I
do
do
it.
know is it's gonna be about relationship with your patients. Be their advocate. Don't overtalk. I think we try so hard. Like if they're stuck, we'll just keep educating them and
Yeah.
keep educating them, and that's probably not what they're looking for.
But isn't that what we were taught? I mean, I remember taking a gazillion classes
Yeah,
on case presentation, and it was like they will accept treatment if you educate them enough. And I remember the first time I heard that, I was like, oh, that's like the
okay,
secret sauce.
I
And
got it.
then 2 weeks later, they lied.
Yeah, no one's more saying more yeses to me because I educated them about this. It's so true. It's so
So, I mean, it's a nice thought. And yes, theoretically, but that's not a guarantee.
Here's the other thing. Why don't we ask the patient? And I love doing patient interview and as part of that first onboarding, when we actually talk about the smile, however they answer it across their intake form. Hey, Teresa, when we find things that need to be done, do you like all the details or do you want the big picture?
Ah, nice. Okay.
Now I give them what they want. And look, if I give you the big picture and you want some more details, just ask me. I'll give you those details.
Right.
I am going to tell you about the importance and why we want to do something. That's just standard of care kind of stuff. But I don't have to go into the biomechanics of every single thing to help them say yes. So I
Yeah.
ask them what they want. And the same thing with getting to know your patients. What motivates you? Do you like to wait till something hurts or breaks to fix it, or are you more proactive? Well, now my conversations can lean whichever way they need to go to help them say yes, because that's how they're thinking. So why not speak to them the way they need to be spoken to so they understand it? But you know what? That's years of training and practice and learning how to do that with people. But I think a lot of times, if we just sit down and say, what's the most important thing we can do for you? And listen.
Honestly, this is the whole purpose of my podcast, is let's shortcut this for a lot of people. If you're just starting out giving treatment, asking them how they want to be communicated. I mean, that's genius. No one told me that for years. And then the other piece, which I did learn pretty quickly, only because I had trouble explaining it, was being able to use a lot of visual aids.
Yes.
Like having visual aids, having the models, those big, ugly models. But
Yep.
honestly, those are the best. They're huge, they're bulky, but they show it. And so,
And the
now
picture can hold it and put their hands on it. You know what I mean? And I think that adds some, like, oh, I get it. I get it.
Well, and just learning from having spoken for the implant organizations for so long, I remember learning this from somebody. I didn't come up with it, and I can't remember who told me, but if a patient leaves a denture with you, like they get, keep the denture, ask if you can use it, and then that denture is sterilized, and that becomes your best selling aid, because whenever I handed somebody an upper denture, there's no way they want that in their mouth.
Nope.
There's no way. But the thing is, they don't know it until they hold it, because they've seen their grandparents have it or a relative have it, and they think, oh, it's not so bad.
And it's
But
normal.
when you get to picture it in your mouth, you're like, oh no. So that to me was like the most priceless treatment plan tip I ever learned in a class. But the x-rays, the AI, the visual aids for me were the game changer.
I mean, I'm taking a picture of
Oh,
your
yeah.
tooth, not an example of someone else's. This is your tooth. And I think a dentist a lot of times forget to pull up that picture and let's talk about it. And then when you do the treatment and you remove the decay or the old filling, take another picture and then take a picture when you're done so you can show them this is what you have now. Everything's sealed, solid. Eat and chew what you want. People are like, oh, and they remember that. Here's the other thing. They tell others about it. So now everyone who comes in from a referral from a patient that's had a good experience already, you're already like jump started into their case acceptance because their friend trusted you and they're okay. So now I already have a level of trust with you and I haven't met you yet.
And you might even hook into one of these people that like post everything on social media.
Yes.
And if that's the case, like have fun. But that's great.
They love that stuff though.
Yeah, they may not post the recurrent decay, but they'll post the shiny, piece.
Yeah. And I'm happy about this and I'm smiling. You know what I mean? Yeah, people like that tap into that.
Let's talk about hygiene case acceptance, because we fully acknowledge they don't have a lot of time. They're hustling. So I feel like if I were a hygienist, I would want to make use of every moment I have, and they're captive. So I would just talk to them about their treatment while they're sitting there getting their teeth cleaned. Now, I realize that is not right.
That's not what happens, right? I got to talk to you like my therapist if I'm the patient in the chair, right?
Yeah, like, oh, yeah, that's it. Yeah, you need that tooth fixed, huh? Like, honestly, like, that's how I would feel, because I'm so busy that they're so packed for time. I would feel like I need to do that, but that's not practical. So if you're a hygienist listening to this, like, where do we fit that in?
So being prepared. So what do you do on the front end? So chart review. And I'm making sure I've got current x-rays and current photos. So when I get my patient in the chair and I do that cursory view and update everything, and let's say they weren't due for x-rays today, but you know what their outstanding treatment is. I'm going to look there first and I'm going to take a new photo to show them.
Okay.
And then I'm just going to share with them, here's why I'm still concerned about this. I know you haven't moved forward with that X, Y, and Z. I've never seen one get better. I'll show you the new photo. Here's what I'm concerned about. Do you have any questions about that treatment? And, it's going to come down to time, fear, and money. It's always those three.
Sure.
Or not always. Never say always.
No, most
a
of the
lot
time.
of times
A lot of times, yeah. A lot of times.
It's those three things. And so then when I'm done, I'm going to set them up and go, what questions do you have? And now that picture's there again, and I'm going to reiterate that. And look, if I've been seeing this patient once or 16 years, they trust me, right? And I was just spent 45 minutes in your mouth, likely.
Yeah. Yeah.
Here's what I saw. Here's why I'm concerned. So I think when you can relate that to I'm concerned about you as the patient, if you have examples of people who did not do anything, that's always good. And then I always go back to, we're here to help you. What questions do you have? How can I help you? Our team is great at that. And then I do a good handoff to the person at the front that might
Okay.
say, you know what, Bree is excellent at figuring out the insurance piece and then helping you fit it in your budget. Let me get you time with her right now so she can help you with that part.
What I would love is it if we set the patient up and say had the news on or home and gardens, whatever, like at that point, make them look at that tooth, like have that up on the monitor, sitting back in the chair. Yeah, I might want to just
Yes,
focus
I
on
can
something
watch Home
else.
and Garden, but when you
Yeah.
set them up, it's their big ugly tooth on the screen.
Yes. Yes. I mean, you've got to put it right in front of them. They're not going to say, "Hey, can you show that to me?"
Yeah.
A lot of times they're going to be like, you'd be like,
No, they're going to
"Okay,
look
I
at
want
that.
to."
Here's the thing, what I always hear, and they sit up and look at that. Is that my tooth?
Yes.
Yes, it is. It
Yes.
is no one. I was just, remember the camera that we just took a picture of? That's you. That is not somebody else's.
Right.
And they're always shocked, like, oh, well, they don't look at their mouth like that.
They
That's
don't.
why I
They
wanted to
don't.
show you that. That's why I'm concerned about that. Here's what's likely to happen if you do nothing.
It makes me want to say, no, it's my tooth. I just thought I'd tell you. Like,
Yeah,
I
I know.
just
I
thought
just thought
I'd
I'd
show
share
you.
that with
But
you.
like, what kind of
I
question
was
is that?
gonna
Is
say
that my tooth? Who else's tooth is it going to be? Okay, so handoff. And then I want to talk about our fun thing in
that.
October.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
handoff piece is, I feel like when you talk about case presentation, there's so much focus on the handoff. I agree, the handoff is important, but I feel like the emphasis is on if you can do a good handoff, then it's a lock. And I always thought, I just feel like we need to, like, it needs to be front loaded, right? Like in the operatory, but the handoff is very important. So do you feel like this is something we train enough on or don't train enough on? Like, what do you see out there now?
Gosh, sometimes I think we overtrain it because they're not doing it. And I don't think the team has to see the value in it to make the time to do it and do it well. Like,
Okay.
what's the purpose? Like, why am I saying this? Like, and what are we saying? Are we saying stuff that we don't need to be saying that we could have said in the operatory before I handed it off to somebody else? And look, there's tons of handoffs. Front business team to the assistant to the doctor when they come in, doctor to the
Mhm.
assistant when they leave, hygiene to doctor when they come in, doctor to hygiene when they leave,
My goodness.
any of those clinical people to the business team. So
Yeah.
there's tons of handoffs, but it's what's the message? What are we trying to convey? And you got to make it short and sweet. And you're saying it out loud in front of
Yes.
the patient, over the patient. So that helps. Again, how many times are we hearing something? And they're looking for that same consistency in messaging. You need that filling. Here's the decay, prescribed a filling. Oh, back in hygiene. You have decay, it was prescribed
Mhm.
a filling. Up to the front, and she has decay, was prescribed a filling. So they don't really have a chance to go, no one told me anything about that.
Well, they do say that.
But
They
they
do
do
say
say it.
that. And the other piece, like you were mentioning marketing, like people have to hear things over and over again. And
Yeah.
that's just another good example of that. I remember the worst handoff I heard was a girl came up, the patient was in pain, and the assistant was walking her up. And she said, okay, it wasn't me, I was observing. She said, okay, Mrs. Jones is ready to get things done. She's finally seen the light. It's like, what?
What?
What did you say?
Wow.
I was like, "Well, okay," and the patient's face was like, "What the?" I mean, you could tell she was like, "Who are you?" And I felt bad because I'm a stranger sitting here, and now
Yes,
she probably feels like, okay, it was just awful. So we certainly had a conversation about that. So don't say that, even if
yeah.
you think,
Don't
okay,
throw them
look,
under the bus. Don't
yeah,
throw them under the bus.
I mean, even if you want to say finally, you don't say
You
that.
don't say it.
So,
No, I'm
um,
excited that Miss Jones is going to get this done so she can get out of pain.
yes, there you go. See,
Yeah.
what a nice spin you put on things.
Right? Like,
And
let's
that's why you're so
make
good
it
at case
done.
presentation. Are you a dental biller feeling overwhelmed and isolated? I get it. The world of revenue cycle management is complex and ever changing. That's why I created Dental Revenue Network. Our membership community was created to help you become a better revenue cycle manager and small business operator. Say goodbye to feeling alone and hello to a supportive community of dental billing professionals. Here's what you'll get: monthly billing focused meetings with peers and experts, business building sessions to elevate your career, resource libraries tailored for billers and billing company owners, introductions to cutting edge RCM technologies and companies, and a vibrant community for networking and support. Ready to transform your dental billing experience? Visit dentalrevenuenetwork.com today. Don't wait. Join us now and navigate the business of RCM with confidence. So if somebody is thinking, oh, Lord, my doctor needs Angela in his life or her life, how do they find you before we move on to the next part? How do they find you? And what kind of conversations do you have before you decide if this is something that's going to work for them?
Well, one, I want to look at what are we measuring? What is our case acceptance? Let's see how good you are. And some people measure it and some people don't. So that might be the first step.
Okay.
We think we're busy or our schedule is full. So I must be doing something right. But are 45 people going out the back door too, and we're counting on new patients to say yes. So you want to look at that. And you can find me, you can email me at angela@adaptivedentalsolutions.com. We'll put that in the notes, I'm sure as well.
Yep, definitely.
Website, adaptivedentalsolutions.com. I'm easy to find.
And your book is on Amazon.
And my book is on Amazon.
You're going to flash it up there. Go ahead and
Let
flash
me go ahead and flash it up. Look at that beauty.
there. Coming Home to a Better Practice. I love it.
Yeah.
It's a good book. And what I liked about it is it's cozy. Everything about you is cozy. It's a cozy book. So go ahead and pick it up. And then, so let's go ahead and fast forward into, we're going to go to October now. So we have picked a date for October 10th. We are doing a Beyond the Operatory Workshop. And for those of you who are like, what is Beyond the Operatory? So a little history. Dr. Tony Stefanu, who's a good friend of both of ours, he and I started this workshop. I don't even know when. It might have been 15 years ago. Who knows? And we held it multiple times over many years. And it wasn't about how to teach you how to be a speaker, a consultant, or a sales rep or anything. It was basically for anybody who was exploring getting out of the office because of the clinical side and the work side of dentistry. Because unfortunately, either things change, either you have disability, pain, ergonomics, or as we had plenty of dentists come in within their first year, second year, they'd spent all this time and they realized they don't want to do this. They're in the wrong place. So what are my options? And like managers would come in and say, what is like, can I do something outside of being a manager? Like, yes, of course. And so that's the history of Beyond the Operatory. It really was for all members of the dental office. And then Angela and I, we had dinner one night at Star of the North, and we were like, I was like, yeah, you know what I really miss presenting? And you were like, yeah, Beyond the Operatory. And she's like, yeah, why don't we do it? And I was like, you know what? Why don't we do it? And so that's what we're going to do. And it's going to be it's a speaking and coaching focus. So again, we're not going to teach you from soup to nuts how to do it. But if you've ever been curious of what is the income potential, what is out there, is it only speaking and consulting? We're going to walk you through that. But also you may take it and realize like you're good. And that's okay. But aren't you seeing on Facebook, like everybody wants to work remote nowadays? Everybody wants to go do something else nowadays. And I'm like, man, the office is so much fun. Why do you want to leave? But if you do, what can you do? So what do you hear that when you're going on site? Like, hey, I want to do what you do.
I want to do what you do. How do you do what you do?
Yeah.
And there's so many questions. And I think that's what Beyond the Operatory is going to help you answer, and to see what lane might work for you, if it would work for you, or maybe solidify that you're going to stay in the office, and that's okay too. But there's lots of conversations that we're going to have Beyond the Operatory that'll just help fill you with information, be able to answer questions that have probably been burning questions. And it's real. It's me and Teresa. We're going to share straight to you. It's not Facebook, everybody's opinion. We're going to tell you what's worked and what hasn't worked.
And also what I needed as a full-time manager, I needed someone to just tell me if the finances were going to work.
Right.
Like if I'm going to take a step out of this good job, am I doing it for the same amount? Because that's not really a great lateral move. I'm now an entrepreneur paying more taxes. If you're going to make the same amount of money, you actually are making less being an entrepreneur. And a lot of these people are wanting to do remote billing and they're 1099. Well, when you're 1099, if you're at the same hourly rate, which you're not going to get as a remote biller, if you're a manager, you're actually like losing a lot of money. So I think what I wanted to do when Tony and I started is be real about like what the expectations are. Because you and I have seen people come in and go back to work in an office when they realized it wasn't for them or the money wasn't there.
Right.
You know, so, and you took Beyond the Operatory. You were one of the people that took it. And one thing that I was very honest about, and so was Tony, was if you think you're going to make $80,000, $100,000, and you're making that now, if you want to be a speaker consultant, you're not going to make that the first year. You're just not. So you have to decide like what kind of hustle you want to put into it. So talk about that hustle though, Angela. What's the hustle like for real?
The hustle it's a hustle every day. Depending on what you want. Here, I mean, and that's the beautiful thing of it. Early, I hustled a lot to build that reputation, that client base, to get referrals, to speak. And then just like probably in your career, it ebbs and flows. What do you want? What do you want more of? And what do you want to do?
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it can be a side hustle. So, yeah.
And a lot of it is figuring out what do you really want to be known for and what do you
Your
want
passion.
to. Well, and if you had to pick one thing that you were going to help offices with, what is that one thing? Because so many times we see managers leave to be a consultant and they're like, well, I was good at treatment planning. I was good at finances. I was good at leadership. Well, okay, but you need to niche down because if you don't, then you're going to be really stretched thin. I mean, a full practice management consultant, you are one.
Hmm.
It's you still have to rely on other resources because it's hard to be all of it, right?
Yeah, you can't know everything about everything and keep up with everything. I'm like, things are changing all the time. And you've got to decide, what do I want to be really good at, if that is a piece of it, or know who you can bring in alongside of you that's going
Mhm.
to complement your weaknesses. And I think at Beyond the Operatory, we'll be able to dive into some of that stuff because what I was good at in the practice, how does that translate in every practice? Because it's not like the one you work in right now.
So that was a really big thing. We would have girls come in. It was mostly girls. I'll just say girls. We would have girls come in. Their offices were amazing, high producing. They had things down to a science, great systems and all of this. And then they went out and started consulting and they're like, oh my gosh, none of my stuff works. Because if you think your office is really well run, you're right. If you think the rest of the offices are like that, you are so wrong. You are so wrong. Haven't you like every time this is how it was for me. Every time I thought I found a terrible office that I had to fix, I was like, oh, this has got to be the worst. It was never the worst.
No, there's more. There's more. Look,
So,
you've got to be willing to invest in yourself. And that's a great first step in Beyond the Operatory because you only know what you've been experienced with so far.
mhm, mhm.
And there's offices out there that have different problems and stuff that you may have never seen before. And you're
You would
stuck.
not even imagine some
Yeah.
of the stuff that we've heard. I mean, honestly, like we're going to see on the beach. We should probably just get a bunch of us together and like just crowdsource the worst things we've ever seen in an office. I mean, we could do a whole book on affairs in the office.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Holy
Easy.
cow. What
Easy.
on earth? It's an epidemic.
It is an epidemic.
And
Go back to remote working.
I mean, so listen, there is nothing in my life where I've ever heard the whir of a drill or the hiss of an autoclave and thought, ooh, yeah, I got to have some of that. Like,
Yeah.
what? There's nothing sexy in the office, but somehow people make it work. So,
Yeah. That is so true. So true.
and will you as a consultant be brought into the middle of that? Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and then there's just bad performance, all of it. So, I think I'm not trying to talk people out of leaving the operatory, but the fact is, when you are a high achiever in an office, as you and I both were, there is going to reach a point where you start to think, what else is there?
Yep.
I feel like I've done everything I can here, and then there is the guilt that comes with it because you're like, man, I work so well here. They're going to really hate to lose me, and I don't want to leave, but what else is there? And then it starts to gnaw at you like there's got to be more. So if you're at that point, this is going to be a good workshop for you because then it will settle your nerves if you decide to stay because you'll be like, oh, they told me all about it and I'm not doing it. Or you'll be like, you know what? I think I can do that. I think I want to do that. But the
Totally.
thing is, you can't jump into this big pool and not know what you're getting into. And I think that was what was very scary for me and for you. I mean, we both were part of networking organizations. You were with a larger consulting organization. I feel like somewhere along the way, someone could have pulled me aside and said, so here's the real thing.
Hey, yes.
Yeah, just so you know, you
Yeah.
should probably put money aside for this, and you should probably not spend your time there. Like, I just wish somebody had done that. That's why Tony and I started it because He's like, yeah, I tell people, and if they listen, they listen. If they don't, they don't. Tony's a lot more direct than I am. But I remember thinking, and he told me, this is why he and I got to know each other. He told me, he's like, why are you spending all your time doing that? That's not going to do anything for you. And he was right. He was right. And I feel like we just need to be like that little angel on some people's shoulders and help them
Absolutely.
make the decision.
Yeah, help them make the decision. I like
Yeah.
that.
But again, we're not making the decision for you.
Yeah.
We're just laying it out there. So
Give you lots of information.
yeah, we're going to be like the Google Maps of your career. You can go that way or you can go back in the house. It's fine. And
Yeah, they're both good. They're
both
both good. Yeah.
So we've got it set for, and it's going to be in Northern Virginia. It's going to be October 10th. You're going to want to come in the day before, obviously, but also I think we're probably going to just do like a happy hour, get to know you type thing. And it's a packed day. Like we're going the full day, like lunch is going to be eaten at the table where we're talking. And it's a small, oh, we should probably mention that. We're not looking for more than 20 people at all. It's not manageable. Tony and I think the biggest group that we did was 15, but we covered everything, dentists, hygienists, sales, and all that. I think a day is 20 people is plenty of people to get lots of conversations. You'll meet other people looking to do the same thing. And then if you want to stay and enjoy Washington, D.C. in October, which honestly, not a bad time to come to D.C., you can. I'm not a tour guide, so please don't ask me. I'll send you links, but Norman does that. It's so funny. When people want to come visit DC, I'm like, and Norman's like, I'll take them. So,
wow.
Yeah. And then I think, and we also talked about having a follow-up webinar too, just to check in, see how you're doing. And we're going to have a WhatsApp support group for us for, I think, 3 months or 6 months or something like that. But we're such talkers. It's probably going to stay open.
I know it'll stay.
It will stay. And I think, honestly, what I really enjoy about our relationship is we're at the point now where we're just like ready to just give it all back. So
yes, give it all back.
Yeah. So I think it's going to be fun. We're working now, like you're really going nuts with the book and massaging it all together. So it's going to be so much fun.
It's going to be fun.
Yeah. Yeah. And so also one other thing you were talking about was encouraging them to do their strengths.
Yeah,
we're going to talk about that.
We're going to talk about Gallup strengths, which just helps you. It's who you are. They don't change over time. And we know there's tons of personality tests out there, that kind of thing. So this is one of those that taps into your natural given strengths. And then how do you leverage that for what you want? So that'll be fun too.
Many of you have already done it, with your offices. So bring that in. But if not, we'll put a link in the registration. Registration's not up yet, but maybe even by the time of this publication, it might be, I'm sure it will be up by the time of this publication. But I do hope that you consider joining us, only because we're tons of fun, but also you're going to get a lot out of it. So Angela, one more time, how can they find you in case they need case acceptance and also practice management training? Because you've done all that for mutual clients.
AdaptiveDentalSolutions.com or Angela at AdaptiveDentalSolutions.com. You can find me.
Perfect.
Facebook, Instagram, same name. You got it.
Sounds good. All right. And dear listeners, as always, I appreciate that you spend your time with me.
If you learned something new today, subscribing is the best way to support the channel and keep learning with us.
We're all super busy, so thank you for making time for me today. The show notes will have any links that we referenced in the episode. You can also find links for my book, events, and my online insurance course, Dental Insurance Design and Management. I speak often around the country on management and insurance issues. Come hang out with me in one of my classes. I promise you'll laugh and learn.